Welcome to the Formless Guide. Today we're going to tell the story of a Solar Ascent, a Manipura journey. Manipura being the chakra of willpower and drive within our lives. Now let's begin. In the valley of Sirayana, where moonlight pools in lotus ponds and mountains hum with forgotten hymns, lived a wanderer named Asha. She was born beneath the eclipse. Some would say an omen. The elders would whisper of her, of a fire that would resist all shadows. Asha's journey began in silence. After a betrayal that fractured her trust, she chose isolation over healing, which sometimes happens in our journey. But the loneliness became a mirror, showing her what she'd refused to face. Her power was buried beneath resentment, and her will was shackled by doubt. One night, as the stars blinked endlessly, she climbed Mount Dhurvan, a place that was said to ignite dormant fires within those brave enough to reach its summit. Harsh winds lashed her, mocking her frailty. Visions of failure tempted her to turn back. She was reaching her end. But then, in the raw pulse of exhaustion, she remembered a mantra her grandmother once told her. The sun within you does not beg to rise, it commands. And with each step, Asha began to choose herself, not out of arrogance, but conviction. She reached the summit, bruised, but burning with clarity. And at dawn, as the first rays touched her skin, her Manipura chakra ignited to life. Like a golden disc behind her abdomen, radiating strength, direction, and now self-belief. Her will did not just conquer the mountain, it had become it. Years later, she returned to Sirayana, not as the eclipse girl anymore, but as the beacon. She helped others ascend, not with promises, but by awakening the fire in their own beliefs. Now, as we reflect here, we begin to see the third chakra's presence, where self-worth was tested. Trial came. Asha was forced into corners of not only physical boundaries, but spiritual and psychological boundaries. This is why the solar plexus is the center of willpower, self-esteem, and the transformation that became her ignition into truth of herself. Asha's trial reflects the chakra's presence and its process of turning pain into purpose, fear into assertion, inertia now into motion, or bhakti, drive to push through any boundary when faced. True Manipura activation is not just ambition, it's claiming one's right to act despite resistance. Now I'd like you to ask yourself these questions. What recent challenge forced me to either retreat or rise? And how did I respond? In moments of doubt, do I recognize the voice of my will? Or do I silence it? What am I afraid might happen if I unapologetically choose myself? Sometimes we can be so afraid at choosing ourselves because it feels selfish. But the difference between the selfish and choosing yourself is one is explicitly done to harm others and yourself. Choosing yourself is used to grow yourself. It's the acknowledgement of where you are, the acceptance to know what is needed, and the drive to take action of choosing yourself in that scenario, event, situation, or possibly a rising challenge. Another question is, where in my body do I feel resistance to taking action? Can I breathe into that space? Some actions you can perform for this is, when you think about this, use mindful techniques that will help you properly as well as precisely journal and record these moments so that they can become an active process within your day, something that you can check off. It's not expected for all to be done at once. This is where we enforce journal use, along with mindful techniques. Another question you can ask yourself is, if my will were a flame, what dims it and what fuels it? Find this source of self. Now, the third chakra, it's called Manipura, but is also referred to as the egoic being, meaning this is where the sense of identity, structure, formulates. And within that structure, we can find what it is truly fuels us on a daily basis. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may stem from bad or hurt. Take the time to understand what truly drives you on a daily basis. What makes you get up in the morning? What makes you push through the day? What makes you carry on in your life? And as these questions begin to arise, I want you to take note of your thought process as it occurs. Take note of feelings that arise as these questions are made vivid to your mind. Think of the reactions emotionally that are being triggered when going through this process. And journal them. Write them down somewhere. And make it an active habit that you take time to enforce your own will in your life. And for all the right reasons, stemming from the right intention. Just as Asha did. Find your will. Create that ignition of immovable fire. This is your Formless Guide, signing off.